Sellers, my how you have shrunk.
What's going on?
What up,
Grizzly,
big dog?
what up?
Oh man, all good. So, yes, normally it is myself and Sellers as usual. However, many people know Sellers is expecting, and I think him and his wife had some stuff come up, all as well. But when you're expecting, you just got shit you got to do. So, last minute Hail Mary here hit up my boy Wealth Dean, and he graciously, graciously uh, accepted my plea so I didn't have to talk to myself. So, seriously, man, I really, really, really appreciate you.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
It's going to be fun, man. Like I said, normally we just chop it up, do a little bit of chart review,
Yeah.
questions if there's any that come in, and we just we talk about the week and the shit, what's been going on, which I think you picked a good day to come on here because there has been some shit today.
Oh yeah.
And we're gonna jump into that. As a matter of fact, we're just gonna get straight into breaking some trades down. So let me do this thing here. To be honest with you, I hate that sometimes that graphic is like we hammer it down, right? Because if we just would have longed a particular stock today, we'd be millionaires.
Yeah. Speaking of that, it went up even further.
Has it really?
Yeah, as
Oh
we were
my.
loading. It's at 180 right now.
Okay. We're going to get into that. This is holy shit. I got a lot to say. We're going to save the best. We're going to save tops for last.
Yeah.
We got to. That's like save the best for last.
Yeah.
So let's just get into this. So I've only traded for 2 hours today. And then I traded Monday. I've been largely gone.
Yeah.
So Tuesday, Wednesday, pretty much all today I was gone. My daughter broke her toe apparently pretty badly. And we've been, going back and forth to doctors, x-rays, et cetera, but such is life. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So I don't actually have as many trades under my belt as I would normally, but I'm still going to share a couple from earlier in the week that worked out okay. Actually, you know what? Not that one. That's not the one I want to show first. Here it is. So this one right here, this is from Monday. This was a hot one from Monday because this was a big gapper. It also continued to go higher. So this chart cuts off halfway through the day. Per usual, a lot of my trades, like I'm usually out before noon, 11 my time. But anyway, INAB, right? So this was a hot one from Monday. You traded it too, right? Did you trade this?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, this was a tough SOB. Like,
It was.
So basically, and I do this a lot. I get in a little bit at open. I'm not a opening print type of hammer it down with any real size. If I see some weakness at open, I will hit it, but never with large size. And of course, this is why, because oftentimes you do get a morning push in that first 10, 15 minutes. So I was full sized here. And I actually got all out here because, and I even so we have a room now, right? Like a little Discord. It's not a lot of us in there. There's maybe a dozen, 20. It's small. We have no plans to make it ridiculous. It's just kind of cool to chop it up with people throughout the day. But anyway, I think, I don't know exactly what I said, but I just didn't like the fact that it soaked and bounced off VWAP so hard. For me, it's a big red flag. My thesis was just for a quicker breakdown. We didn't get it, and I covered. And the other reason I covered is because this volume on this thing was stupid. Like, I'm looking at it now, and I remember, like, this is a 1 minute chart, mind you. But in 1 minute, almost every volume candle is right at 1 million shares, especially first thing in the morning. I don't like that. Like, for me, that's a big red flag. So I just actually was like, I was done with it. And I didn't intend to trade it here, but I think Sellers was talking in the room about wanting a fake breakout. And I was like, oh shit. Okay, I like hitting fake breakouts too. So I took it, and immediately, right when I took it, it acted like it was just going to keep going. I mean, massive volume was coming in. So I de-risked. I took some off, which obviously in hindsight, I regret. But in the moment, it is what it is. So I took half here, the other half here. And that actually ended up working out perfectly because I'm going to pull up the chart from like the whole day. This thing was a grinder and it didn't die. And I know I have that chart. Hold on. User error. Let's see here. This one right here. So this one doesn't have my executions on it because I got it today. But, you know, I was short in this area, short covered, right in here. Hit this, I don't want to call it a mini parabolic move. Shorted it, covered the last bit of it here, and then you can see like it kept grinding. And I remember in the room, I was like, oh man, this right here, this is it. It's done. Still wasn't done, still kept going, and then it just grinded on into close. So like from a short perspective, this sucks. And the fact that I was even green on this ticker is pretty wild. I'm almost lucky to a point because this thing went up.
Craig, I can't hear you, Craig.
Oh, you hear me now?
Yeah, I think so.
I have a mic problem. Can you hear me now?
I can't. Not really.
Damn it. What about now?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been having mic problems and I don't know why. It's getting old. But this was a grinder, man. That's what I was saying. That I'm lucky to be green based on the fact that this thing grinded up all day. But one last thing I want to show, the thesis for the trade. I try to share my thesis for these trades just to add some perspective. But if you remember, I was full size right at 3. And this is why.
Yeah.
Right? Like the daily struggled over 3. Now, granted, no real volume except right here. I like my daily levels to have some volume. So I was pretty excited to see this. However, if I get multiple daily touches right in this area where it struggles without volume, I'm okay with that. But just like a singular outlier level with no volume, I don't get real excited about that. But when I see 1, 2, 3, 4 and with volume, then I'm pretty excited about it. And anyway, I made something of it, but obviously it kept going and was like F you to that level with huge volume. So I made it out alive.
Yeah.
And that's about all I could ask for.
Right. Yeah. So you were saying something about on the daily certain levels having volume and not having volume.
Mm-hmm.
So like, is it like you prefer?
I can pull it. Yeah, I can pull it back up. So you know, I'm big on volume, right? Like Sellers changed my name in the room to Volume King because all I care about and talk about is volume.
Yeah.
Right. So on this daily, right? 3 was my level. 3 was the level I liked because it's you know, it messed with it here and failed, messed with it here and failed, messed with it here and failed.
All on low volume.
All on low volume. So that doesn't get me super excited. But then when I see this also here, right, bounced above it, failed with some decent volume.
Right.
Like that was an abnormal volume day. So that gets me excited because after it jumped and failed, right, and then this chart never got back up to those levels. So this is what I call like a bag holder level.
Yeah.
Right. So
major weakness too with that volume there.
Right. So for me, I'm thinking in my head, like there's 50 million people or 50 million shares traded, whatever, that bought this stock, that probably bought it up in this area, that are now underwater. And they never got a chance to get back out until that day. So normally, statistically, right, we talk everything in statistics, like what normally happens, and we work on laws of averages. Normally in that scenario, it hits the end of these levels and it just fades back down. This one obviously didn't work out, but again, that's why we do everything with statistics and numbers, and normally that works out or whatever, but that's why you also got to have risk management. But yes, I like levels better when there's volume.
Right.
If like pretending, right, if there was no volume here and only one, this was the only time it hit 3 and on no volume, then I would not get excited about that 3 level at all. Like I either want multiple touches, and I'm okay with multiple touches on little to no volume, or I'm okay with like one hard touch with a bunch of volume. I'm okay with that. I really like it better when you have all of the above.
Mhm.
So this one had all the above. This was a nice setup, and I made it out green on it. But it grinded, and it, shit, sometimes it goes like that.
Yeah.
So that was a tough one, but made it out okay. And then I'm gonna show one other I got from Monday, and then I'll let you show a couple of yours because I know you've traded more than me this week. Man, this toe thing, I tell you, it's a freaking nightmare, man.
What's
all right, so my daughter broke her toe. That's the nightmare. This actually wasn't a nightmare. This looks like a nightmare, but this actually was one of my more profitable trades this week. It looks horrible, and I even said in the room, I was like, my chart looks like a mess.
Yeah.
And it is. I will give you that. And I will also say, and I think I said in the room too when I was messing with this, I was like, this isn't something I would recommend anybody do. Like, so me and Sellers have talked about a lot lately that we've seen this new phenomenon, right? Where it's like stocks approach those halt levels, right? Those LULD levels. They approach them and they act like they're going to halt. And then it like slams down. It's like a fake halt and slam. And I feel like that's relatively newer this year. I feel like in the past, when it approached those halt levels, it just halted, and it acted accordingly when it unhalted. But I feel like in the last few months, we've seen this thing where it approaches that level and you watch the level 2 and it acts like it's going to halt. And then it just slams down hard. So I even said, like in the room, me and Sellers were talking about it. And I was like, it has that look. This thing is going to fake halt and it is going to slam. So we went fake halt hunting. That's essentially what we did. So the first trade, this was a halt resume trade. That's a setup that we like. It's a setup that we take. It halted somewhere in this area, if I remember right. We hit it here, or I hit it here, and this was an all in, all out. Like I was up nicely on this trade. This was like a 15 to 20% move right there, and I nailed it. Like I was super happy with that. Which pros and cons? I was up, right? Up monetarily, so then sometimes you develop this mindset of, oh, I'm up, so I got house money to play with, which is a bad mindset. Yeah. But we just felt like this thing was being bid propped on the level 2. We were like, this thing's going to do the fake halt and slam. It's just a matter of time. So this whole conglomerate here of entries and exits was me hunting that fake halt and slam.
I see.
Didn't get it. Tried it again here. This little tiny move here was the biggest. I shouldn't say tiny. This was a decent. These 2 entries, these 2 exits, these were the biggest loss I had on the ticker itself.
Okay.
Which after this right here, I was barely slightly green. This was not a bad loss. This was in and out, super close together, no big deal. This though was a little bit more of a loss. So then in here again, I'm like, dude, we kept talking about it. I was like, it's gonna freaking fake halt and slam. Like it's gonna do it. It's just, it had the look. We've been seeing it. Anyway, it finally did. And this red arrow at the top, I joked because I don't ever get top ticks. For me, it's incredibly rare that I get a top tick. But I top ticked it, and I joked that it took me about 20 executions to get a top tick minimum. But it is what it is. So anyway, I top ticked it finally. The fake halt came, and then it did slam pretty hard. I think it actually halted down. It did, because I can see there's no volume. It halted down, and then it kind of grinded up, had me a little worried, but I held and ended up, covering out in pieces. And percent wise and dollar wise, this was one of my better trades on the week. But it was a headache. It was also I mean, I say I manage my risk, right? Because I'm looking at the halt levels, and if it would have got close to one, I would have exited. But on the other hand, if I did not get executed, it could have halted up on me and skipped up. So not something that I would recommend people do, not something I want to continuously do. It just that was more of a experience level 2 thing that we've been seeing. So we took a shot. It finally worked out. And if it had broke above my last little top tick and kept going, I'd have been done.
Yeah.
So it worked out. Not my best trade is terms of execution, but it was just something that we've seen happen time and time and time again. So we tried to take advantage of them trying to take advantage of us, so to speak. So
I was wondering, what made you think it was going to slam down? Like, was something on the daily? Was there a solid level? Or, I'm guessing.
No, so we've just been seeing on these tickers like that where they do these crazy moves, right? Parabolic moves, and then they'll halt once and then they'll resume. And then it's like from there, we've been seeing this thing on other tickers where like it approaches that halt level on a parabolic move. It approaches that halt level, those LULD levels or whatever. It acts like it's going to halt because level 2. Because I know we've been talking about LULD levels for a while. We've been talking about level 2 for a while. And sometimes when it gets close to that LULD level, you see all the bids or the asks are going to be the same price, right? And it does that right before it halts. But lately, in the last few months, we've been seeing that thing where it does that type of action, acts like it's going to halt, and then the bids just disappear and it just slams down.
I got you.
And we've been seeing that for the last couple months. So we just kept saying, we were like, it's going to do it. It's going to do it. We're going to try a couple halt bands. And so our charts were shit. They looked horrible. But we both came out pretty good on it because we finally caught that move we were anticipating.
Right. Made up all the little nicks you got.
Yeah, so not the cleanest chart per se. Chart looked like crap, but whatever. If my P&L looks good and the chart looks like crap, then I don't care. Like, cool, whatever. But anyway, so you prior to the last couple months, you've always been long biased, primarily, right?
Yep. Shortened new in the last few months for sure.
Right. So you've been just getting into shorting, which is welcome to the dark side.
Yeah, yep.
feels good, doesn't it?
It does feel good. I'm not gonna lie.
So it's new for you, but I gotta say, because you've been in the room with us a little bit, you've been posting your charts, you've been active, you've picked up on it nicely, which I think, trading from the long side, you at least get a sense of how these things behave in the small cap world. So you came in with some experience. It wasn't like you came in green per se. It's just you're new to shorting. Right. But you got a couple charts to show, right?
I do.
I want to see them.
All right.
I'm going to put you on the spot because these are good. I mean, for just starting out shorting, and I got to say, me and sellers say this all the time, like the biggest, most important factor when it comes to short selling is like risk management. And I would say, based on your charts thus far, like you are definitely managing your risk very well.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I feel like shorting is easier to manage my risk for some reason. I don't know why exactly, but emotionally for me, I don't know why. But can you see my chart?
Yeah, can you zoom in just a little? Like if you, yep, right there. Boom, perfect.
All right, so I'm on 3 minute. I probably should have did the 1 minute when I did the screenshot. But so this was, it looks like I got in pre-market right here. I just got a very small size to help with the FOMO, like you say. And then when it opened, that market opened, I hit it. It looks like I hit it again. But I'll probably have my position here and then scaled out as it started to push up here. And like you said before, this kept grinding up the rest of the day. So at this point lately, I have been, just taking base hits, not really hanging on for the lingerers because I'm kind of new still. So I'm just kind of taking whatever I can get. That's a decent game right there. So I was just kind of taking my money and run and not hang any linger or whatever you call
No,
it.
that's a solid trade with good risk management. I think I told you this before we even jumped on the call. Like your entries are really, really solid, especially for first starting out. And the fact that you're taking your gains, because you've mentioned a couple times, like sometimes you're like, damn, I should have stayed in longer, or I took gains too early. But when you're first starting, dude, like zero problem with that. And I know you've started to use range orders a little bit, which is good, but like for somebody starting out shorting, like you got to be careful, and you're definitely being careful.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
And this was a tough one. Like, this was a grinder all day. So the fact that you made money on this as a short seller when most shorts probably lost on this, it's a good sign.
Yeah. I wish I stuck with taking the base hits after that, though, because then I started to, get a little greedy hanging on longer, because I still haven't caught one of those all-day faders, and I'm like, I want to catch one, But
so I know you've seen a lot of my charts, and I've shared charts on Twitter. I share them in here when me and sellers do this stuff. Like the amount of times I catch an entire all-day fader is pretty rare. If I can get 20% on a move, or even let alone 30, you can pretty much guarantee I'm all out.
Right.
Like I just feel like there's huge. Me and sellers talk about this a lot, and I'm not trying to go off on a tangent, but I just feel like FinTwit, Twitter, whatever, has ruined so many people with these. You see these amazing charts with all-day fades, and it happens, and they're awesome. But damn, man, if you can lock in like 10, 20, even 30, especially 30%, like consistently over time and mitigate your losses, like what it can do for your account in a month is powerful.
Right.
All-day fades look phenomenal, but give me the meat of the move every time.
True. Yeah. I even like trying to get that 30% too, because I've been like capping out at like 10, 15%.
Which is phenomenal, by the way.
Yeah, I just gotta, be happy with that, like.
Hell yeah, like 10, 15% on your money, especially when because you made what, 10% here roughly?
Yeah, about.
And you did that in about 30 minutes. So in about 30 minutes, you made 10% on your money.
Right.
Can't be mad at that.
Can't complain.
Hell no. I'm all for it. I take the base. Well, it's not too often I have these charts with like massive gains. And typically if I do, right, like if I have an arrow that catches an all-day fade, I've already pretty much taken the bulk of my size off beforehand. Like I, pay myself on the way down, so to speak. I'm not holding all of it. And that's just my style. Each to their own, or to each their own. There's 1,000 ways to cut the pie that that we're all trying to get a piece of, but whatever works. And for me, like I've said it before, but I love being done trading by 11 or 12, especially the bulk of my trading in my positions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the less time, the better, for sure.
Yeah, one thing I've said to sellers for me specifically is like the longer I'm exposed to the markets, the more I feel like I could lose, or I just overtrade, or I'm pushing buttons. So like for me now, like after 11, it's like parabolic setup or bust. Or unless something parabolics into a real solid daily level on a gapper type of thing or something. But there's not a lot of afternoons I'm taking random trades anymore. It's just no.
Less is more.
Yeah, fucking A. I'm gonna steal that. Less is more. Yeah, this was solid. I know you had another one too, right?
Yeah, I got two more I can show.
Yeah, let's see.
So my next one was BXRX. Can you see the chart?
I can, and actually, for whatever reason, when you enlarge your chart too much, your mic gets weird. So it actually is better like this.
Okay.
I don't know why. Technology is weird, and I don't understand it.
That is weird. So yeah, BXRX. I added small here and small here, or I should say average size. And then when it pushed back up here, I probably added the same size as this, all in this one position, and that was it. I had my stop loss set too. I was like, all right, I'm not adding any more to this. I got to manage my risk. And I actually got stopped out. I got stopped out before I could change my stop to all of my position, so I still had a little bit of my position that I ended up taking out down here. This ended up fading the rest of the day, but I had places I had to go, I had to be. But I think I only got stopped out by like 7 cents or something. Let me look. It was unfortunate, but I had to protect my.
Yeah, man, it happens. Sometimes when you, I can't remember. I've had more top tick exits than I've had top tick entries.
I know, right? It seems like it always happens that way.
Yep.
Hindsight. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I got
Hey,
stopped out.
do me a favor. Minimize your chart a little bit. It's doing the chop thing again.
All right. How about now? Is it better?
Yeah, and I don't know why.
Huh. That's weird. But yeah, I gave myself a little wiggle room over previous highs. I got stopped out and missed it by just a few cents, and then this thing faded off the rest of the day.
Top tick exits, man. They happen.
Exactly. So that's how that one went. But at least I didn't just become an ad bro or something like that,
Yeah, because we're gonna show. Go ahead. I don't even want to get into it yet because we're going to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll show my last one. What's that?
I said tops. We're gonna get into tops when we're done with these charts.
All right. Let me show SAI. This is the last trade I took this week. So market open, a little after market open, 9:37 a.m. I entered, sold for about a nice 10% gain. I sold half my position, and I was like, because of these prior positions where I missed the all-day fades, I'm like, I'm going to try and let this one ride for the all-day fade. And, this was a huge move for me. I had decent size, and I ended up getting taken out, as you can see. And then it ended up fading off after anyways. So small green on it, was pretty big green for my size account at first. Only locked in half. I probably should have locked in more, and at least, locked in the rest here. But I don't know. Let's go look at the TOS chart.
I like what you did there, though, because I do the same thing, right? So if on my first exit, I have a solid gain. If I have half of my position left or 25% of my position left, I move my stop down to break even, because after I've locked in, I'm not going to let it go against me.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I definitely don't want that. I've done it before. It's not good for me.
Yep.
But yeah, I had these 3 levels that I found on the daily that I was risking off of. Unfortunately, top tick exit, like you said. But, that was basically my risk, and I missed it by just a few cents again. But small green.
No, it was solid, man. And top tick exits happen. It's part of the game. But like I said, in my opinion, and it's easier said than done, but when I see people have top tick exits, I'm like, damn, like it sucks, but they respected their risk. Like,
right.
Because I mean, it can be worse, and I'm about to show why it can be worse. So the ticker of the day, right? Ticker of the week, ticker of the month at this point. Tops. And I'm gonna Sam. Top tick's just unlucky. Hell yeah, like they suck. Had one yesterday, slipped into it. I've had that too, slippage into a top tick. It sucks, but at least you're managing risk. Like, so if I see a top tick exit, he said, and agreed, we don't complain when we stop and it shoots further. Exactly. Because that happens. And here, I'm just going to show it because this is freaking wild. So I traded tops today, right? It's ticker on everybody's mind. We all know it. So this is mine, right? I was gone all day today. I came back around right in here. This is when I got back to my house, got on my computer, and was kind of watching. And I was playing catch up. I don't like being gone all day and then coming back and trying to play catch up and trying to trade. But I did. And I'm watching. And of course, you can already kind of tell 20 was a major level on this thing. It struggled with it. So I'm like, It kind of grinded up a little bit, and I'm like, okay, nice little shelf. I'm gonna hit it. So I did, and I added here, and I don't have a picture for it anymore, but I use volume, right? Volume is my thing, volume profile, whatever. Well, if it would have fell below, it was like 1550. If it have fell below 1550, there was no support until like 13. So I added here on this big fall off. I'm like, oh shit, this is it. It's done. It's about the tank. Here we go. Money. Well, I could have took some off here and had could have been a nice gain. But I was risking a break of 20. Wanted to cover at VWAP. So I got a little too aggressive on this, but is what it is. Anyway, I ended up getting all out here because this was 5 minutes before close, and my risk was $20.03 or something, $20.03. Well, there was a halt band here that formed at 1979. So when it started approaching it, I got all out because I was like, if it halts now, it is going to go absolutely crazy when it unhalts in after hours. And I have a chart to show. Damn, I don't even know if this is still. I don't know what it's at now. So this is this is what happened, right? So mind you, I got out at 1979, just below my anticipated stop, because when it unhalted after hours, I was like, it's gonna go to. In my mind, I'm thinking like 30, maybe 25 even, but I didn't want to be part of it. This damn thing. I mean, look at this. This thing opened at 7 today and got all the way. It closed at roughly 20. Went up $100 a share after hours. What is it at now? I don't even have a live chart right now.
It hit 210 and then it dropped down to like 100, and now it's bouncing at 140.
So this, right? You know what? I'm gonna see if I can just, because I got my Thinkorswim pulled up and I have my charts right here. I'm gonna take this screenshot. I gotta chop it and put it up here because this is why you have to manage risk. This is also why I don't like to trade after hours. This is also why I stopped out before the halt, because I didn't want to get messed up in after hours. But this right here. Oh, where'd it go? See, I'm trying to take a screenshot in the moment. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, this one.
Here, I think I got it. Is this it? Hell yeah. Look at this. Holy shit. So it shut, and I think right before we jumped on here, we're like, oh, I bet a lot of people are shorting it at 120 because it bounced off at 1, 2, 3, 10 times. And it just F the 120s. Let me just go up here real quick to 200.
And they're just tooling with everyone.
210 slammed back down pretty hard to 120, bouncing now up to 144. Who knows what this thing's going to do tomorrow? But this is, I guess we could say it's a black swan move, but it's like, it's hard to call it a black swan move when we've seen stuff like this. We've seen it a few times, right? Like HKD, we've seen iLag not too long ago. This stuff happens. But damn, I mean, I've heard horror stories of guys in this 20 to 40 area that took huge losses. I know some guys blew up entire accounts, let alone it going all the way up to 200. This just blows my mind.
It's scary.
But one thing I want to touch on also with tops and why this thing is sketchy, right? So a couple reasons it's sketchy. In my opinion, you got China tickers are always sketchy.
That's true.
It's just the way it is. Like, they are sketchy. They're not as regulated. It's just the way that they're very erratic. The insider ownership on this is right around 85 to 90%. The float on it is only 5 million, but when you factor in that insider ownership, you're probably looking at a true like sub-mil float. So then this is the daily, right? And when you look at the daily on this thing, it's got some crazy candles up, down, on little to no volume. The biggest volume day prior to today was 10 million. You move over to today, traded 30 million before close. And I mean, this is the daily, so it doesn't show the after hour madness. But I think you and I were talking about before the show, 20 is a key level. It struggled here with 20. It struggled here with 20. Like, I'm sure everybody in their mind had 20. I had 20 in my mind. That was my risk level. Like, I gave it a shot. Didn't work out. But holy shit, if you don't manage your risk, you get things that just, I got to pull it up one more time. This is just absolutely. So as a short seller, right? If you're a long, you buy a position at $10, it goes to zero. You can just lose your initial investment, right? That's all you can lose. As a short seller, as you know, you can lose way more than your position. So that's why you got to manage. I think short selling statistically has a major edge, especially in small caps. But if you don't manage your risk, you're going to be one of those statistically that blows the hell up. This is nasty. Like this still, I'm just sitting here staring. This just blows my freaking mind.
This is exactly why.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is exactly why I maybe manage my risk better on the short side, because this stuff is scary.
Yeah, and you got to keep it in your mind. Like, you have to keep this in your mind that these things can happen. It's going to happen again. And obviously, you don't want to be on the wrong side of it because, and I'm not throwing sellers under the bus. He would say it if he were here. He posted it on Twitter. So whatever. He would have talked about it. He and I took the same short, right? We both got short at the same spot, right in this level here. I was fortunate because I was watching it like a hawk going into close, that I saw the halt level coming up and exited my position. He didn't. So when it unhalted, he got caught, which this looks minuscule now, but after hours, this thing went from 20 to 40 in like a blink of an eye. So fortunately, he got out, I think just below 30 or something. He took a pretty bad, didn't blow his account or not a crazy loss. Nothing abnormally huge, but he took a bigger loss than he would have liked to because of that halt and that skip up after hours. But if you would have held, I mean, this just is mind blowing. So we say it all the time, like managing risk is the single most important thing with any trading, especially short selling. Like, I don't know. And you're new to it, right? So as a new short seller, how long you been getting into shorting?
Just like 2-3 months now. Well, I've been kind of like studying though for longer than that, like maybe half a year.
Okay, so you've been trading for a while in general, just on the long side more so. Right. So as somebody new to short selling, right? You're a new short seller essentially. What is, like, in your mind, one or two things that like a new short would definitely have to like pay attention to, gravitate towards, manage, whatever? Like a couple things that you think is like the single most important things for you.
Well, the first thing that pops into my head is a range order, because these things start to move so quick that you get just caught deer in the headlights. I mean, you're down more than you want, and then you're associating. You're in pain at this point. You're hoping it comes back so you don't sell. The range order is a game changer. It takes the emotion out of it, like you say. You're out, and that's it. And I know some people might move their stop loss, which isn't good either. But it's being able to accept. For me, it was hard to always accept that I could lose, but now I'm like, okay, like I can lose. It's going to be this much. Like, just being okay with it, and not associating it with pain, because that'll just make me stay, maybe turn into ad pro, and
Right.
essentially it's blowing up. But those range orders very important to just like automize the process.
Yeah, like
Is that-
kind of automates it in a sense, right? Like
Yeah.
you're arranging it for either target or stop, right? Whichever
Yeah.
comes first.
Right. So
Yeah,
I don't.
I agree. Range orders are one of my favorite type of orders, especially if I'm in a position that like has quote unquote worked. So instead of sitting and watching the chop, the minutia, dealing with all the emotional crap or whatever, you just set a range order. Whichever comes first. Yeah, I agree with you. Takes the emotion out. I love
Yeah.
range orders.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm loving them. Helps more than anything that I've done, to be honest.
Hell yeah. Well,
Waiting for those crucial levels too. You know,
Do what?
like waiting for those crucial levels too. Being patient.
yeah, and that's something that I think is hard for a lot
Yes.
of people. Like FOMO is real, man. That's
Yeah.
so me and sellers have said multiple times, like when we're trading, we gotta stay off Twitter, right? Because you see somebody that got in a position near the top and it's faded, and then you catch that FOMO, like, oh well shit, it's still up 60%. Let me see if I can catch 20% of that downside move.
Right.
You get in when you didn't want to, you chased it down, and then it burns you inevitably. So I agree with you 100%. Like being patient is freaking hard too. Like
Yeah.
it's a struggle. So staying off Twitter has helped with that a ton. And that's also like pros and cons with like Discord rooms, right? Like we're in a room,
Yeah.
we'll be talking, you know, and that's why sometimes I hesitate to call out like, oh, I'm short here on this, because I don't want people to be like, oh shit, I want to jump in too, and then catch FOMO, and then, you know what I mean? So it's like pros and cons, but that's why we try to just share like process and ideas instead of just being like shorted $3, risking 320. Like sometimes we back and forth.
Right.
But anyway. All right, man. Well, shit. We are at 45 minutes. We try to keep these things under 45 minutes to an hour. So I don't want to take up everybody's evening in its entirety. But man, I cannot thank you enough for like saving me, because Sellers just abandoned me. He took off. No, I shouldn't. He's a busy man, and he's going to be a whole lot busier here in about 5-ish. I think they got about 5 months left.
Oh boy.
5 or 6 months left. He's already got one. Now they're gonna have two, and I told him two is tough. But anyway, seriously, man. Like for those of you that don't know, I literally asked this man like an hour before and was like, "Hey, I'm going live. You want to go live?" Like, no context. Was like, "Do you want to do it?" And he like literally saved me. So appreciate you.
Yeah, man, it was fun. Thanks for having me. You know.
Yeah, the next time. So I know we've mentioned too, like me and Sellers usually do this on Thursday. We'll do it next Thursday, and we might do some we can have multiple people in here at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and
For
we'll
sure.
chop stuff up. But anyway, man, I appreciate y'all that tuned in. Appreciate y'all that watch it back. Per usual, let us know how bad we suck or how much you like us so we can change accordingly. And like, comment, share, all that good stuff. Questions, hit us up. My Twitter tag is here. You are Wealth Dean on Twitter, right? Like at Wealth Dean.
I am. Yeah, that is my exact screen name.
Yep. So you can hit him up. He is new to short selling, has been trading for a while. So I think he has a lot of valuable perspective, because there's a lot of people who are, Twitter says that our niche, right, shorting is overcrowded. I still think, I can't help but think like our niche shorting is a much smaller group of people than those that are chasing these longs. So a lot of people are new to shorting. So if you have questions for a new short seller, somebody just getting into it, hit them up.
Appreciate it.
And yeah, man, appreciate you jumping on last minute. I know I took up a lot of your time. We prepped, we did this. Thank you. And again, appreciate y'all that tuned in. Watch it back. Let us know how we do. Like, comment, share. Same old shit. And I'll holler at y'all later. Peace, brother.
Peace, bro. It's been good.
Yes, sir.